Welcome to Essential Shorts videos, where we take a look into the world of student ministry one topic at a time. Now today's topic is relationships. Now not the normal approach to relationship ministry, but a different look into how youth are affected by relating to others. I call this relational math. So we know that youth are highly relational, and we know that if we can understand their relational world, we stand a better chance at introducing them to Christ and nurturing them in their faith. All right, let's look at another youth relational math problem. Youth 1 plus Youth 2 does not equal Youth 1 plus Youth 3. So Y1 plus Y2 does not equal Y1 plus Y3. Simple enough, right? In other words, youth behave differently around different people. It's peer pressure. With the affirmationless generation, we're seeing an increase in the number of students willing to risk the rules or risk the relationship with their parents in order to have their needs met by their peers. In other words, they have their needs met on their terms. So Y1 plus Y2 does not equal Y1 plus Y3. Different students around each other yield different outcomes. Let's look at another one. Y1 plus S does not equal Y1 plus S2. So in other words, youth in one situation do not equal the same youth in a different situation. Youth 1 in situation 1 is not the same as Youth 1 in situation 2. Well, that's simple enough. So the same youth will react differently when faced with different situations. They may be abiding by some rules and some things in one area, but you put them in a different situation and they're bumped a little bit and they act differently. So in other words, students will react differently according to their backgrounds, their strengths, and their weaknesses. What we want to do is help discover what these are, and we want to teach and relate to students according to what we know about them. I mean, think of it this way. Samson was comfortable slaying wild animals and killing Philistines, but in the arms of a beautiful woman, he was a little bit different person. So youth enjoy different things. Some may get bored with a particular teaching method, while another youth may enjoy that method very much. Some youth will allow you to invest in their life and intersect their life and be a part of it and plant truth with maybe minimal effort, while others will keep you on the outskirts of their life and at a distance for months or even years. You know, Judas and John spent the same amount of time with Jesus, but one became the betrayer and the other became the beloved. Let's look at another relational math problem. Y1 plus A1 does not equal Y1 plus A2. In other words, youth respond differently to different adults. Youth 1 plus Adult 1 does not equal Youth 1 plus Adult 2. Fortunately, we can involve people in our ministry to allow youth to intersect with different personalities and different people. And it's not just the different personalities, but identifiable things that students will react and respond to. You know, John Mark, Paul, Barnabas. We want to involve different people in our ministry so that youth can relate to different people and attach themselves to those people and allow them to invest in them. So let's look at A1 plus Y1 does not equal A1 plus Y2. In other words, Adult 1 plus Youth 1 does not equal Adult 1 plus Youth 2. That is, in other words, adults act differently towards different youth. Sometimes we find anxiety. We have anxiety over the 3 youth who are uninterested and maybe obnoxious. We put more energy into that sometimes than the 7 who get it and they want to learn. We as adults, we act differently sometimes around different students. Some allow us into their lives quickly. Some don't. Some are very kind and affirming, while others, it seems like we're chiseling our way into their life. I mean, for example, Nicodemus. He says, "Lord, can we talk?" He went away saved and with a new life to live. And then you got the rich young ruler, "Lord, can we talk?" He goes away without Christ. So Adult 1 plus Youth 1 does not equal Adult 1 plus Youth 2. Now let's look at the last relational math problem. Y1 plus Y2 plus Y3 plus Y4 plus Y5 plus T does not equal Y1 plus Y2 plus Y3 plus Y4 plus Y5. In other words, the youth that you lead today will not be the same youth that you lead in time. Give it your best, affirm, encourage, Teach them based on knowing them and not putting them in a lump sum. Develop it relationally, disciple them accordingly, and remember that the time you invest today with all of the youth that you intersect will not be the same youth that are rendered in years to come. I like the illustration of the treasure ship. In September of 1622, a Spanish fleet, the Tierra Firma, left Havana, Cuba, headed for Spain in the New World. It carried gold and emeralds from Colombia, silver from Peru, spices from the Orient, and pearls from Ecuador. Most of the treasure was concentrated in two ships, the Nuestra Sonora de Atocha and the Santa Margarita. Now, the next day, the fleet was battered by a hurricane off the Florida Keys, and they tried to hide in the Gulf of Mexico in that same area. 8 of the ships failed to pass through the reefs, 2 of which were treasure-laden galleons. 260 souls were lost of the king's treasure in 55 feet of water. Now, the sands of the Keys closed over the wreck quickly, making a return salvage attempt fruitless. The wreck remained undisturbed for 350 years. After 17 years of research and tracking down dozens of leads and searching hundreds of square miles of ocean floor, treasure hunter Mel Fisher found the Atocha treasure galleon on the Marquesas Keys, 30 miles west of Key West, Florida, on July 20th, 1985. The Atocha was loaded with 24 tons of silver bullion, 180,000 sets of 8 silver coins, 582 copper bars, 125 gold bars, 350 chests of sapphires, 525 personal silver and gold jewelry items, valued at over $400 million in the day. The Nuestra Sonora de Atocha is the most financially valuable shipwreck ever found. Now, finding the Atocha was remarkable in itself. But even more interesting is the fact that some of the local charter boat captains were already aware of the reef. They just didn't know it was a treasure reef. In fact, they had been taking charter boat fishermen over this reef for years. It was called a dead reef, and it was known locally as a good fishing site. When dive teams began to salvage the Atocha treasure, they found fishing lines and lures scattered all over the reef. A regular fishing reef, but yet a reef of treasure. For years, boaters and fishermen had been passing over the greatest treasure ever found and didn't even know it. Now, this can happen to me. This can happen to you. Remember, your students are the greatest treasure of our future. Be careful and handle your treasure with care. You might just be passing over one of the greatest treasures in God's plan for kingdom impact. Hey, thanks for watching this segment of Essential Shorts videos. And if I can serve your ministry in any way, please don't hesitate to contact me. Or maybe you have a problem or a question concerning another topic in youth ministry, give me a call. I'll be glad to help. And drop me a line. Let me know about your success story, and I can share that with others. And remember, what you do is of great importance in kingdom work.